the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network, here on Christmas Eve, live for the next 3 hours. Mitch Moss along with Mike Palm, VP of this great property, along with the Golden Gate and the D in downtown Las Vegas. Paulie with a day off here for vacation today and tomorrow. A loaded program lined up for you today. Paul Stone in an hour. We'll go over best bets that he has this week with the bowl games in college football. Rich again in 90 minutes. A lot to hit with him in the NFL. How are you, Maestro? Good to see you. Merry Christmas.
Mitch, great to be filling in here on Christmas Eve or close to the Christmas holiday. A lot of times it's you're gone off to Wisconsin and I'm with Paul. So I'm doubly blessed that it's you that I get to sit in the desk with today.
Are you normally working on Christmas Eve here at the casino?
Yes, I do, because I take Christmas morning off typically because they have small children.
And you go to the midnight mass.
You know, we're going, I think, at 6 o'clock this year to St. Thomas More. We'll get into this in my Christmas reflection, but because we're displaced and out of the home and things aren't as they normally are, we won't be at midnight this year. But yes, it's usually a tradition.
How many years running do you think it's been going at midnight?
Well, I'm 51, so...
Like your whole life?
50.
And it's going to be broken this year?
It's going to be broken this year.
How do you feel about that? Or do you want to save it till the message comes up a little bit later on?
We can talk about it later, but it's been in the back of my mind for a few days.
So last night, it was not a very sexy matchup on Monday Night Football. You had a 14 or a 14.5 point favorite against the Saints. Now, the Saints, I'm not going to call them a dead team because, I mean, with Rattler last week against Washington and with Rizzi, the interim coach, I think that they want to actually go out there and give it a shot. But the way that game played out last night, it was a total mismatch. It was over with early, and the Saints had no business being even on the same field as the Green Bay Packers. I'm curious. We kicked this around for a second before the show started. The NFL knew the Saints were bad for a long time this year. They can flex out of Monday night games. Yeah, I'm curious why they didn't.
I don't know why they made this decision. Perhaps because it was the last game before Christmas, and it would be at Lambeau. You had that great background, and they did a lot of good shots. They went around neighborhoods and did the B-roll before the game, I'm sure, the night before or 2 nights before with all the Christmas lights and a little home, small town America. So you have that good background. You just have to hope the Saints keep. But, this game, Mitch, when they would play action and they would throw the ball over the middle, it looked like they were playing 11 on 9.
Yeah.
Like there were no Saints defenders around. They were just running free, and then it was a struggle to each time. When New Orleans did cross midfield, how were they going to mess it up? How was Rattler going to mess it up? What were they going to do to turn the ball? It was just, there was no fight. I kept looking for a little bit of spark from the Saints. I thought about playing some in-game unders early, but then I thought maybe the Packers score a touchdown every time they touch it. I just laid off the game. Of course, it obviously did slow down a lot in the second half as Green Bay was interested in handing the ball off and just moving on.
A lot.
Moving on to Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's exactly what they wanted to do. They want to get out of there last night unscathed, move on to the game against the Vikings, have no more injuries. Although Watson went down, he got hurt, and they've had some guys on defense, obviously, that have been banged up, but they were out of the game last night. I'm curious on a game like, again, last night, with a big point spread like that in a couple of days before Christmas, did it impact overall the handle that you typically see in a game like that?
It was lower than an average Monday night.
Was it?
It was. But I have to tell you, when we talk about college football playoff, the handle on those 4 games was incredible.
It was great.
We knew we had 2 good NFL matchups on a Saturday, and I thought, could we do as much on this Saturday with 3 playoff games and 2 NFL games than we do on a normal college football Saturday?
Ooh.
Almost double.
Oh,
yeah!
Get out of here.
I think it might have been our highest right day outside of a Super Bowl or a first 2 days of March Madness we ever had.
Is that
the amount
right?
of action on these playoff games, the amount of 6-figure bets on these games was stunning. And I've never seen so many college teasers. We're not used to getting a lot of it. They were firing very big college teasers in these games.
Moneyline parlays, too?
Moneyline parlays, teasers, but teasing to the same game, teasing to the side and the total.
Okay.
So, we didn't get crushed as bad. If they would have all just been teased down the favorites or moneyline parlays, we'd have gotten absolutely obliterated. Thank God it wasn't to that effect.
It was way too easy. I didn't do it, but it was way too easy this past weekend.
It was the only game you had to sweat was Texas. Because Clemson showed. And I would say this. In a loss, I thought Klubnik played very well.
Oh, he did.
He impressed me there.
I
against
agree.
a very, very good defense.
Yeah.
But that's the only game you really had a sweat. And Clemson's got first and goal to cut that back to 1 score again with 9 minutes to go. Maybe there's some pressure on Texas if they get it back to 7, but it wasn't to be.
What are you anticipating tomorrow for the handle on the Christmas Day games?
Well, I think it will be good because you remember most of it's done on the app, and these games are important. The handle will be artificially high because now I just went and looked. We have almost $2.5 million in credit and in front money that are available for players tomorrow. This is obviously really tough. These 3 games are very, very tough.
And this is
when
all
we get time,
Yeah.
I tried to do kind of a deep dive because if Derek was here, he'd be going into tremendous detail on this about what people have left. But I mean, the biggest favorite you're going to get is 3.5 points, right? So a lot of these games are picks. We're down to 45 entries, 44 people left in Survivor, one with 2 entries, and the team with 2 entries. One entry has Chicago and Seattle. The other has Chicago, Seattle, and Pittsburgh. I mean, I imagine they do the double option.
You do the double option?
Because it's I think there's a very good chance, 45, that we will have, less than 30 and maybe less than half come through this gauntlet going into next Sunday.
We might get chaos combined, right, on the special Circa Survivor week that is Christmas Day and also the Thursday night game. So only 3 games to choose from, 6 teams. You got to try to save some of those teams anyway. So the $2.5 million that's been wired in, that is all specifically to hedge on their...
That's a combination of credit we've granted and front money that's been wired in.
Wow.
But it's now in earnest. We've had a few small hedges the last few weeks, 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, betting on the opponent of the one they picked. So it's very, very interesting. There's 9... of the 45 entries only have 1 team left. So we already know that there's 6 people that only have Baltimore. 1 only has Chicago.
Oh, yep. That's the one that was sold.
Correct. Our friend sold.
Yep.
1 only has Seattle, and 1 only has Pittsburgh. So those 9, we already know the picks. 7 have Chicago and Seattle. So they got the choice of that game. And 8 have Chicago, Seattle, and Pittsburgh. So that's very interesting.
Oh, what do? Do you just go Seahawks?
I mean, if you're prioritizing, now only 4 people have the Chiefs, right? If you were to, I was going to ask this question, if you were to prioritize the 6 picks, or you're really prioritizing maybe 3 or maybe 4, I mean, you would think Baltimore is the first choice.
That's number 1.
Is Kansas City 2? Or is Seattle 2?
It's such a great question because
the Bears are a mess.
They are a mess. Do you like the current form of the Seahawks?
I don't know. They played even with Minnesota. I mean, they played even with a very good team. With Geno's healthy, they should be favored, but it's on the road and a short week, which always favors the home team. But, where are you going to go with that?
It's a very losable game for the Chiefs, but I think we say that every week and they have 14 wins.
That's correct.
Yep. So I'll run this by you real quick based on last night. The Packers, how about this? They made history. A 30-plus point shutout, 400-plus yards while allowing under 200. 0 turnovers, 0 fumbles, 0 sacks taken, 0 missed kicks. No team has ever done that in a single NFL game, courtesy of OptaStats on X. How high are you on this team?
Boy, I want to be very high, but they have to win 3 road games. Mitch, I want to be very high. They can't win the division anymore the way it played out. I think they're going to be very live at Minneapolis. You see the numbers only 1, right? And that's a big game for Detroit. Because if Minnesota loses, Detroit can wrap this up with the win.
Yep.
Right. So it's just they're going to be the 5 or the 6. They could still be the 6, but they're going to be the 5 or the 6. So I would like them at whoever. Right? What are they going to be at Tampa?
Would you like them at Tampa?
At Tampa. Tampa's pretty good.
They're feisty.
Yeah, they're feisty. I still like the Packers. I mean, you can make the argument the Packers are really close to being 2A in the NFC.
They're a pretty complete team.
They're very complete, and you talk about one of the stats you mentioned, not miss a kick. I mean, how big will McManus be in the playoffs? Who do you trust out of the kickers in today's game in the NFC?
Oh, that's a good question.
Who do you trust?
Certainly not. Do you see Elliott again for the Eagles this weekend? No, again? Right.
What? He's 1 of 8 from over 50 yards?
He finally made one, but
statistic.
That was right. He was short from, what was it, 50? Was it 56? It looks like he was 8 yards short in the game against Washington.
Yeah.
So don't downplay that, by the way. Special teams is a massive factor going into the playoffs, and when teams have had bad special teams when they rank near the bottom, they've never even made the Super Bowl before. So that could be a factor as well.
Well, when Green Bay had the bottom special teams is when they lost at home as the 1 seeds.
Yeah, they gave it
2 years in a row.
That's right.
Remember the block punt against San Francisco?
That's why the special teams, the reason why they lost the game. So out of the teams right now to win it, I looked at the odds last night at Circa. The Lions bet, again, down to plus 170 because now it looks like they're going to be the 1 seed here. Doesn't mean they're going to be, but they have a pretty good path. Eagles plus 275, Vikes plus 560, and Packers right around that range. But let me ask you this. Do you think the Packers are better than Minnesota?
Yes.
You do?
Well, I do because I think Minnesota's secondary is awful. I think Flores has done a good job covering it up. But they got the pick to start the drive, but I thought Seattle had a very good chance to go down there and score a touchdown the last drive. The safeties were playing 30 yards deep.
Yeah.
Right? He tried to get the ball to Metcalf to make a play. It didn't work, but that secondary, if they don't get pressure, that secondary is not good.
They do have a lot of guys up front that are awesome, though.
Yeah.
Grenard, Van Ginkel, very good. And we've all been waiting for this combustible game by Sam Darnold. Not happening.
Yet.
Yeah, because you know what's going to happen? If that game appears, and let's say it happens whenever. This weekend against Green Bay in a huge game, next week against Detroit.
Or in the wild card round.
Yeah, people are going to say, told you so. So you knew it was coming. Right, they've been waiting for this. They cannot wait for Sam Darnold to have a piss-poor game because they want to scream from the mountaintops.
Yeah, I wonder how deep they go. I don't think he'll be back to Minnesota though. I think no matter what he does the rest of the way out,
they have a huge decision.
Well, I think O'Connell believes he can do it with anybody.
Oh, maybe.
And if McCarthy's healthy enough, he can do it with him.
All right, so we're going to use this as a springboard into a conversation about betting cross-sport parlays and giving them out as Christmas gifts. You have to find a good base to build these around, and we have a ton to kick around next year on VSiN.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big. We go all night. And here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Open your Christmas presents with the VSiN Morning Line on Christmas morning. Hello, everyone. I'm Harrison Sanford. Join Eric Coleman and myself on Wednesday's show as we preview the NFL holiday matchups between the Chiefs and Steelers and the Ravens and Texans. Plus, Christmas Day also means NBA action, and we'll handicap the lines and totals for all the games as our gift to you. Join Eric Coleman and me on the VSiN Morning Line Christmas morning on VSiN, the sports betting network. Happy holidays.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Merry Christmas. We're live here. Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Mike Palm in for Paulie today, next 3 hours. Paul Stone on the show. Best bets in college football. Rich Gannon a little bit later on as well. So I gave a wedding gift more than 20 years ago. A buddy of mine lived in Florida, and I gave him poker chips from a casino here in Las Vegas as a gift. And so obviously part of that would be, well, this is cool because you need to come back to Las Vegas. We're going to have a good time. We'll visit. We'll hang out. We'll gamble together. That's your wedding gift. Sent them back to me. Said, ha, ha, ha. We'll take the cash instead. That was the response. I couldn't believe it. I was blown away by that. So about a year or two after that, I'm like, I want to try it again, but I'm going to do it in a different fashion, right? So I started to give out parlays as Christmas gifts. Probably about 2000. That's actually 20 years ago now, because he got married in 2003, and I started the parlays in 2004. And now that has evolved into giving out either future bets to people who like certain teams potentially, or to cross-sport parlays as well. It can be a big hit. I think it's a really good idea, and I would actually recommend that to you as something that you want, if you want to give somebody. You don't know what to give that certain person in your life, a good buddy, you owe somebody a favor, they're a sports fan, whatever. Throw a future bet, right, on a team that they root for, or give them a cross-sport parlay. You're going to see their eyes open wide. It's going to be like the appreciation level is going to go through the roof. They're going to think it's super creative. And here they're sitting on a potential ticket that might pay who knows how much cash.
Well, Derek has that idea when we go on these trips, right? And he gives out these tickets. Like when that line you saw in Boise. I mean, he was giving out Genty for Heisman.
Oh, he was?
They were all $100 tickets. Genty for Heisman, Boise to make the playoff. You know, tickets that are all related to positive things for Boise when we went to the game. But it's a good idea, right? It gives people a sweat, and then hopefully they come back to cash it when it hits. Of course, they can mail it in, obviously, right? I'm still blown away that they sent the chips back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was that did not go well for about the next year in our relationship.
I can imagine.
How do you respond to that?
How much was it?
At the time, I had no money at the time. I gave him $150.
And it was that $150 was that important.
Oh.
The smaller the gift, the more ridiculous the sending it back was.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Now, I also had a lot of weddings that are around the same time, and I get my standard gift back then was $150. See, which, yeah, whatever. I mean, I was 20 years old.
I think we've discussed this before on the show, but my gift is what I think the buffet cost them for two people.
Okay.
I don't want them to lose on the wedding, unless it's a very close friend. So when we go to the wedding, I don't seal the card in the envelope, and I put in $200 in 20s. All right. And then if I judge that the buffet is costing them less than that, because some people get really skimpy.
Oh, absolutely.
At these weddings. Or I could also add if it's over the top. But, you know, there's been times I tell my wife, take out 60. Take out 4. What? I gave a blessing at a wedding for a friend of mine. I actually lived with the guy for a while when we worked in Northwest Indiana. And his daughter was getting married. It was very cheap. Very, very cheap. And he kept going on and on about it's costing $78 a person. I said, just put that on the card at the wedding. Put that if you're so concerned with that. Put what it's cost, so people don't leave less than $160 and get you stiffed on the whole thing.
Right.
Right.
So at least that part's going to be paid off.
That part's paid off, you know. But I think they did okay. I think most people are going to give $200 as a couple anyhow.
I went to a wedding one time. They not only had it on Sunday, but they had breakfast for. It was a Sunday night, and they had breakfast as the meal. Donuts, pancakes, hot chocolate. What do you leave on something like that? I was blown away. I couldn't believe it.
You and Lorraine?
No, God, no. This is way before I knew her.
Oh, okay. It was just you.
Yeah.
Well, $40.
And that's pretty bad.
Well,
and then
I told you the one wedding we went to, this kid that dealt poker for me, Dan Sosnowski, rest in peace. He passed away before he hit 50. They went to this wedding. We went and they served buffet style. They served, what do you call this, family style. They served the food family style at the table, which I think is ludicrous at a wedding.
At a wedding, it's...
You don't know everybody. If there's 10 people at the table...
Who's digging in? What are they getting their hands in there?
We had 10 people at the table. There were 6 pieces of chicken in the bowl. And they weren't all breasts, okay? The mashed potatoes got done by the third person that got to them. We said, and we waited I said, when are we bringing more food? They said, that's it.
That's it.
All the food was put out. I opened up the envelope. We had $200 in the envelope. Now, this is like 1998. We had 200 in the envelope.
This is going to be great.
Oh, yeah. I took 140 out.
Oh, did you really?
I left them 60. That was over the top. The 10 people, I knew one other couple. The 3 other couples, another 2 couples knew each other, and the 5th couple had no idea. The 10 of us went to dinner after the reception.
Oh.
We were starving. We said, let's find a place around here and go have dinner. Because we lived through that experience.
That's brutal.
We were starving. There was no food.
I can see that. That's worse than my breakfast
They
story.
said, we've got Clubhouse crackers. Do you want Clubhouse crackers? I said, no, I want food. I want protein.
Then they're just getting insulting on top of everything else. So anyway.
They divorced 4 months later.
4 months later.
I think the whole thing was the setup for the gifts.
Oh, okay. You might be onto something
Yes.
there. All right, so when you look at cross-sport parlays, and you built some, we're going to get to those coming up in about 10 minutes here. I have a couple of questions on what like standard practice might be, which I don't think there is any, but stuff you might want to consider. Like how far into the season would you want to play this out, giving somebody a Christmas gift? What I have in my head is I wouldn't want to go too far beyond like the Final Four or maybe the Masters. I could maybe stretch it into the, let's say, NBA, Eastern and Western Conference Finals.
So what you're saying is you're not giving out a World Series winner on this.
But
right?
I got feedback today from Weston, a guy in the cornfields, who's awesome at this.
Yeah.
He said, I want to give it out so it's the full year. I'll include somebody to win like the U.S. Open in tennis. I'll include maybe a golf bet, and I want to include maybe a 2025 World Series team as well. Okay. That's one way to approach it for sure. And also, like, how many legs do you want to go into this thing?
I think 3 or 4 legs are nice.
I think that's probably good to go.
I did mine all 3 or 4 legs.
Okay. Also, do you include somebody's favorite team, or is that a completely separate story?
I did.
You did.
I included everyone's, well, but not always to the positive. In these 4 that I made, and I'll spoil a little bit. I made a cross-board parlay, one for Michael Lombardi, the dearly departed Michael Lombardi, Stormy Bonatoni.
Okay.
For you and Paul. So I made 4 tickets. Now I didn't make them all on the positive side of their team that they might love.
Okay.
Because some people are happier when their team fails.
That's very true.
Very true.
It's like they're only happy when they're miserable.
Correct.
Right? So a couple of other things now. Like how high do you want to go on the price? You said maybe nothing more than 6-1. How low do you want to go on a price? And my example on that would be, would you want to include something like Victor Wembanyama, NBA Defensive Player of the Year? He's minus $3. Or is that too high of a price?
The lowest price that I have out of these 4 tickets is minus $4. I do have a minus $4 in one of them.
Okay. Because I think that you could maybe build something around like Wembanyama winning Defensive Player of the Year at minus $3. But then you got to probably make it like a 3 or 4 teamer at least to give it away. I
had to make it a 4-teamer because otherwise, who wanted 3.5 to 1 on that ticket?
Yep. Now, you recently were very high on an NHL team. It was Colorado to win their division. Anything else that you want to maybe build it around in the NHL?
I put one NHL future of a team to make the playoffs in. That's a small favorite.
Okay.
That was included in your ticket, in fact.
All right. I would say in the NBA, this might just be a straight bet, but you might want to include, to get a little bit more bang for your buck, Mosley, the coach for Orlando, to win Coach of the Year. He's as high as plus 650. There are some good candidates to win that award in the NBA. What he is doing in Orlando is getting overlooked at this point. They have 3 of their best players out, and they've been out for, now Mo Wagner's out. That's more recent thing. Franz has been out for a minute, and Paulo Banchero, who was playing like at an MVP level, been out for almost the entire year. And yet they're coming back down big and winning these games again last night. They won another game like that. That was Boston. They recently beat Miami when they were down big in the fourth quarter.
Well, they held like Miami to 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was like
37-8
or 37-10 in the fourth quarter.
How about the game I bet where I faded OKC off the cup?
Yeah.
OKC was up 20 and they were up 12 with 2 minutes to go, and we covered the 6.5.
Yeah, how about that? Somehow got it home. I would also throw out maybe 2 teams you want to build it around in the NBA to win their division. I'd say the Grizzlies or the Rockets, or the Heat or the Hawks, and then I would add probably like a Final Four team on there as well. How much do you like this Auburn team?
They're really good. But they still have Bruce Pearl.
I was going to say, how much of that is offset by their head coach?
And the price now has gotten so short.
So it's plus 180. Do you think this UConn team can get it together? Now they're winning games, but they struggled early out of the gates. Do you trust Hurley at plus 380?
On your ticket, I put in a college basketball team to win a conference.
A conference,
tournament.
okay.
Yeah, I couldn't get there. I couldn't find a way to get you to Wisconsin. I couldn't do it.
Okay,
I tried to get Wisconsin, and I had to go away from Wisconsin.
And
but
then,
it's a Big Ten ticket.
Okay, that's fair. And then do you want to get really nuts and add a golfer to win the Masters?
Oh, it's hard. That's too hard.
Of course.
If you want to build a big 200-to-1 ticket or something for somebody for a smaller amount.
Yeah. So there's kind of like a core, I think. You got to examine how many sports you want to get involved. I think the Masters might be a little bit too tricky. I did look, though. A Mosley Coach of the Year, Schauffele ticket pays 74-1 at DK.
It's a two-teamer.
That's it, two-teamer. So anyway, it's a lot of fun, right? Stick to kind of your gut when you build this foundation around it as well. And Mike Palm built 4 separate cross-sport parlays he's giving away as Christmas gifts. We'll find out how he did it next here on VSiN.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome in. We are live. Mitch Moss, Mike Paulman today for Paulie Howard live downtown Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, talking about cross-sport parlays to give out as holiday gifts, Christmas presents, call it what you will. FTM@vsin.com is the email. You can also get in touch on X at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Paulie Howard, and at Mike Palm Circa. So we'll get to yours coming up in a second. Darren emailed, how about a Carolina special? Duke to win the NCAA title and North Carolina football over 6.5 wins at pace plus 13.25 at DraftKings. You'll have more on that with Lombardi, I think, here in a second.
Yeah, I put
right?
that in Lombardi, a different number, but...
Okay. This is from Scott. He's getting nuts. Rams to win the NFC, Knicks to win the East, Avs to win the West in hockey, Mets to win the NL. So I'm at DraftKings right now. I don't see the baseball odds, so I put the other three teams on. $10 pays $4,700.
You know, for Stormy's ticket, I was trying to find a way to put the Rams in, but I don't think they're going to win the NFC, and they're too heavy now to win the division.
Okay.
So I left it off. It was like minus $8 now to win the division.
So explain how you built 4 different parlays then.
I built them based a little bit on the person's preferences, their background, who they like, who they don't like,
right,
the things they hate, and try to come up with either 3 or 4 teams, legs, and the tickets pay anywhere from plus 584 all the way to Paulie's. We had to go for a bigger swing for Paulie because he's got a little steeper hill to climb. So I started with Stormy, who, of course, is a Mountain West girl. So I thought it was very obvious to put Boise State plus 11 in its first leg in the college football playoffs.
She's covered some of their games.
I also think that was a heavy number to open. I thought 10 was heavy when we opened it at 10. Because now this is on a neutral. And if Penn State goes to the final or wins, then so be it. I'm wrong. I'm not there.
No, neither am I.
I'm just not there. They did nothing until the last 5 minutes of the first half offensively against SMU. Let's not forget it was all interceptions that set them up. All right, now the second part of this is a little bit me. Remember that I got a chance to talk to Leon Rice, the Boise State men's coach, for almost 40 minutes between his practice that we went to and then on the sidelines of the Boise-San Diego State football game. Remember, he guaranteed me they beat Clemson. And they did, and covered that game.
Yep.
He also said this team could be very special. They've had a couple tough losses. I thought about putting San Diego State in here because that's Stormy's school, but I don't like the short price. So I went with Boise State to win the Mountain West College Basketball Tournament at plus 325. And then, of course, Stormy got her start covering VGK here in Las Vegas. They don't understand how good she is on the sidelines in hockey, right? I mean, I always say, once she did that national game, the first game of the year, Blues at Kraken, and everybody said, oh, my God, how good she is. Emily Kaplan shouldn't be starting her own car anymore. So that's plus 134. Knights to win the Pacific Division. So the three-teamer, it's 18-1.
18-1.
Plus 17.99.
Catered around her career.
Around her career.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. I like it. That's one way to do it.
Now, let's go on to our friend Michael Lombardi, the new GM at the University of North Carolina. Very, very close friends with Sean Payton, obviously. So let's make Broncos to make the playoffs minus $4. We'll build it around that leg. Obviously, he's carried on his hatred for Atlanta all year because they didn't hire Bill. Whatever the difference is between what a Division I GM makes and a pro GM makes, that's how much Atlanta cost him. And so... Fraud, although they technically lead the division now because of their They are the dog to win it, though. Tampa is still the favorite to win the division. So Falcons not to win the South, minus 160. He long laments the process and Embiid and everything they do there in Philadelphia following the 76ers. So let's go under 37.5 wins on the Sixers. And then finally we'll bet on him and Bill over 7.5 wins, minus 125. That 4-teamer, because we're using the chalk there, plus 584.
See, you're being very thoughtful here.
And a lesser price because he needs it less than any of the 4.
Fair enough. VSiN has the ultimate gift for you, by the way, or the sports bettor in your life. Right now, take advantage of the holiday special and get VSiN Pro access to everything we offer through May 1st for only $79. Sign up now. Here's what you're going to get. Daily best bets to help you cash more tickets. Exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and now Circa, 24/7 video access to VSiN's experts' insights, plus all the betting guides and expert picks for the college football playoffs, Super Bowl, March Madness, everything you need to win big this season. Make the holiday season unforgettable with the gift of smarter betting Head to vsin.com/subscribe now and unwrap your winning edge today. You have 2 more cross-sport parlays here. We're doing this to have fun around the holidays. You're not going to find too many of these in the guides that we send out that I just talked about, but it's Christmas Eve, so we're trying to have fun and make people happy that might not even be sports fans or bettors in your life.
No, but they'll have a heck of a time sweating the ticket.
For sure they will.
Right? And you give them a chance to monetize if you can get the first couple legs in. All right, next for our friend Paul Howard, who's somewhere today. I wanted to put a soccer play in to start. I like this Fulham team. I think this Fulham team is especially very good at home. They sit 9th currently in the table with 25 points, just 3 points out of 6. Remember, Man City's in between them and 6th as well.
Yep.
We're waiting for the points deduction for Man City. You can't really bet Man City knows because nobody knows how many points they're going to be deducted. But if you faded them early in the year, you're sitting in good shape. So Fulham, that's 6-1. Fulham to make top 10 or top half was minus. I didn't want to give him that, so I want to give him a little juice here somewhere in the part. Okay, next, let's let him revel in his hatred of the SEC and bet no on the 2 SEC teams to make the championship game. So Texas not to make the title game. So they've got to get beat one of the next 2, minus 160, and Georgia not to make the title game, minus 260. And then, has there ever been a team that was more beloved one year and hated the next than this Timberwolves team?
Oh,
my God.
boy.
Well, they put all their eggs in the basket of the Ant-Man having the moral guidance and leadership for a team, right? Trade away the right. I mean, he's I don't know that he's a barometer.
right guy.
He's more of an abortion provider. Anyhow, T-Wolves not to make the playoffs, plus 170. So that juices this up. Paulie plus 41-48, almost 42-1.
No, that'd be a nice gift.
4-teamer.
Do we consider Texas a real SEC team at this point?
Well, but still, they are. I thought about leaving them out because maybe that's not in their blood. I consider them a Southwest Conference team.
There you
to be
go.
honest with you.
Will SEC fans, the rest of the conference, root and say SEC if Texas wins the whole thing?
Yes.
They will.
Well, sure they will.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. But if they don't, they can talk about they're the best conference in basketball. Now, for you, Mitch Moss, I did a simple 3-teamer.
Going in fresh here.
Your Packers plus 1 against the Vikings on Sunday.
Well, it's already hedged.
I think they're very live. Here's a team I think that's maybe under the radar, but watch this team play. Maryland to win the Big Ten tournament, plus $6. And then this Senators team is starting. I've talked about the Senators team for a couple years. They kind of ran out of gas. I think it was our 4th game in 6 nights in Edmonton. But, Allmark has taken the role of the clear number 1 goaltender there. He's played well. It's a young team on the rise. Minus 140 to make the playoffs. This ticket pays plus 21.77.
That'd be a good
Mitch
one.
Moss.
That's very thoughtful again. If it cashes, I'll buy you at least a drink, maybe more than that. Thank you. You put a lot of time into that. Good stuff. It's one way to build cross-sport parlays and give them away as Christmas gifts, no doubt. This is, again, emails open, ftm@vsin.com. This is from Chris. He put in a 3-leg parlay for Danny at the Bar Canada yesterday.
We know Danny very well. Danielle.
I could have left out the.
Is it Chris Peterson?
Canada.
Is that Chris Peterson, our buddy?
It is Chris Peterson.
Okay, very nice man. Great fisher with their team to win a lot of fishing tournaments.
Well, he's a great former head coach of Boise State. So
well, different Chris Peterson.
He has Boise State money line. These are all quarterfinals of the playoff
money
games.
Line.
Yeah,
okay.
Money line. Plus 340. Arizona State money line 4-1, and your Notre Dame Fighting Irish money line as well. He doesn't say what it pays, but you can do the math on that, and I'm guessing it's a big boy.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
Which team to give the best chance there? Take out the numbers and the point spreads. Who do you like the most?
Notre Dame. Out of those 3?
Yeah. I mean, that's a dumb question. Not including Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You give Boise or Arizona State a better chance.
I think that Penn State is more flawed than Texas. And I think Boise has passed the ball a lot better than I thought they were going to. Remember, they brought those 2 receivers in out of the portal?
Yeah.
We know Genty after contact is really, really good. I give Boise a shot. I mean, the game's out west. I don't think it's going to be a decided home field advantage for Penn State, right? I think that'll be a pretty neutral game. The Boise fans will travel well there. They've done well in Fiesta Bowls in the past. I would give Boise the better shot than Arizona State, even though I really like what Kenny Dillingham has done. I just think that Texas defense is fast and big and strong at every level, and the secondary is really good.
In my head, is Arizona State's defense going to slow down the Texas running game? They've only had a problem. It was against Georgia, SEC title game, in the first time they played them. Other than that, they are running the daylights out of the ball. So, and by the way, the total is what, 52? Doesn't it seem a touch low?
Low. Yeah, it does.
Like we're going to get more. I want to know what's going to happen with Penn State if Boise jumps on them early. If Genty breaks one, let's say it's 10-0 into the first quarter. What are we talking about there with squeaky bum time with James Franklin? Right?
Yeah. Does this qualify as a big win for him? If he wins as an 11-point favorite, is it still like a top 10 win?
Well, they're not a top 5 team,
yeah.
So I don't know. Probably not if you want to nitpick, I guess. We have win-lose up next, and the VSiN NBA prop analyzer was on fire last night. So were the bets on the Monday Night Football preview show. Details next here on VSiN.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network. last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Imagine if you could not bet on a game like last night. Would you watch more than 20 minutes? So that's the beauty of it, right?
Mitch, I was watching, focused on hockey. As soon as that game was out of hand, which was first quarter, I started focusing. It was on in the background, let's put it that way.
I think I was changing diapers, and I had more fun than what the game came across on TV. Wicks, but the beauty of it is, right, point spread, total, player props. Player props are getting more popular by the day. First touchdown score, Wicks for the Packers between 18 and 20 to 1. Anytime. We called this one on the preview show last night, if you were listening. Brooks, anytime touchdown, plus 650 got there, as did Wilson at plus 550. In the NBA, Orlando again, they did it against the Celtics, plus 330 on the money line. My goodness. And this is, that was win some. This is bad for the books. Bucks Bulls under 238 to 224. A 4-point move, final score 112 to 91. Clippers Grizzlies under 234 to 229. Also bad for the books. Devils minus 190 in the NHL to minus 250. And then a couple of bad beats on top of it as well. The Potato Bowl under 41. It was 13-13. They go to double overtime, 28-20, your final score.
I had under 41, under 38.5, under 35.5, under 34.5, and under 33.5, Mitch. And over 30.5. So I won 1 and lose 5. I mean, I'm sickening. Both of them had short field goals in the last minute of the game.
Yeah. How does that happen? Oh, that's brutal. That's absolutely disgusting. Oh, I will point this out, by the way. The NBA prop analyzer, VSiN.com. James Harden, now 25-4, under 3.5 made threes. Jaylen Brown, 20-4, over 3.5 assists. Derek White, 23-5, over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Those numbers were available yesterday morning. And I tell you, bookmark that. It's part of the daily handicap every single part of your morning, in my opinion, anyway. There you go. That is win-lose in sports betting and trading. Understanding probability is the ultimate game changer. Unlock the secrets of high probability trading with Todd Bubba Horowitz, a former floor trader and seasoned sports bettor with more than 45 years of experience. All you have to do is visit bubbatrading.com/VSiN today. Use the promo code VSiN500 to save $500. Don't miss your chance to sharpen your strategy and gain the edge in your trading game. That's bubbatrading.com/VSiN, promo code VSiN500. All right, so with Christmas upon us as well, I thought it'd be a good idea to maybe kick around a couple of things to maybe warn people. It's a little bit late in the game. All your presents are going to be purchased at this point. But what is the biggest waste of money you've ever spent in your entire life? Does anything come to mind?
Well, it came to mind only because you asked the question. But, I made an investment a couple of years ago, and my wife wanted to get it, but I thought it was a good idea in a treadmill. And, we got kind of a midline treadmill, but it was a little over $1,000.
Yeah.
And I will use it while I watch TV. But I can't use it while it's too loud. You would have to tune in and have your ear pods into the TV or whatever to use it, because you can't watch it and do it with the other family doing it. And only if you're going to listen to music. I probably, the first 6 months we had it, used it a couple times a week. But if I want to walk or jog, I go outside. I mean, the weather here is temperate enough for many months of the year that you can go outside and do all of this stuff. So now, what it is, it's a dust collector. I sort of put it on to offer it up and just maybe see if we can get a couple $100 back for it, because we didn't utilize it. So I just blew $1,000 for nothing.
And then did you sell it already then?
No, because the most somebody offered was $150, and I told her I don't want to go below $200. And I think we paid $1,200 for it.
Is that right?
I would take an even dime on the loss, right?
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Dumb. It was dumb.
I'll give you an example. So a bunch of years ago, just as you get a little bit older, you realize how certain things are very important for longevity. One of those would be sleeping. I told Lorraine, I'm like, we need to just screw this, get a nice bed, like a really nice bed, right? So we went shopping for mattresses around a bunch of different spots. The one that we landed on, it was, they let you try it out. You can lay down. You can put your head on one of the pillows. How does it feel? We did all of them at multiple spots. Well, this one at their shop felt like it was heaven. And so we decided to go with this specific bed. And it cost a fortune. And I couldn't wait to get it home because I'm taking this seriously. I'm not going to, have my wake up and my neck's killing me anymore. I don't want to. I already had a bad lower back. I want to get some good sleep every single night. It's rejuvenating. You get refreshed. It's good for long-term mental health, all that kind of stuff. And it came with like 180-day grace period, I think, where you could send it back. We got home. I realized in the first week I hated the bed, but I kept giving it a chance because it was such a to-do to get it in the house and set it up. And I kept giving it a chance and giving it a chance, and I never came around on it, and we never sent it back. So now we're stuck with this piece of crap that I absolutely hate, and I have to try and sleep on every single night of my life. And I dread going to bed. I'd rather sleep on our couch. That's how big of a waste of money this thing is.
This was more than a waste of money. This was a bad event in your life.
Terrible. Because you think about it this way. You're supposed to sleep 1/3 of your life. Like they recommend 8 hours. The last time I got 8 hours of sleep, I couldn't even tell you when it was. I have no clue.
As the shift in time start, and I realize you had a child, didn't have a child.
Yeah.
It's not apples to apples, but has the shift in your show's time helped with sleep?
No, because I have insomnia anyway. So it's not even Sebastian. It's just I can't. Yeah. I just wake up at 2 o'clock and I'm okay. Now what I'm going to do? Stare at the walls for the next 4 hours? So that's just me. I've been like that for most of my life. And I thought a really nice bed would help with that problem. Not the case. So it's brutal. I just got to suck it up. And I'm just like, every time I go into our bedroom, I'm like, I hate this thing. Get it out. But I can't because I'm still paying it off. It's outrageous.
Some mattresses cost more than cars.
I'm embarrassed. I'm going to tell you how much I paid for this thing. Okay, let's flip it, though. Let's go positive here, right? Something that you purchased that you had no idea you were going to like as much as you do.
So my wife, we don't really give big gifts because we would concentrate the resources on the children.
Same here.
So we kind of, what do you want this year for Christmas? You want, like a watch would be a big deal. So we give little lists. Now, this was back when we were still at South Point.
Okay.
And Brent was doing those Manscaped reads.
Okay, yes.
All right. So I said to my wife, it came to be November or whatever, and she says, what do you want? What's your list for Christmas this year? And I said, you ever heard of this Manscaped? And Mitch, her eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. But then she soon realized that I was talking about the weed whacker, the ear and nose piece of this. And I think she got it for me. And at the time, it was like $20. I look today, it's like $33.95 with inflation, right? Yeah. But I tell you, for that $20, I can't go anywhere without it. It's very, very valuable. And, because between haircuts, the ears, the older I get, the faster it grows.
It's incredible.
It's so valuable. You charge it. You don't have to pay for batteries. I mean, $20, it's like 5 years later. And I still, I forgot to pack it when I went to Washington, D.C. I was beside myself. I said, what happened here? So I get a lot of value out of that.
How frustrating. You don't see that coming as a 15-year-old.
No, never.
One day I'm going to have nose hairs constantly.
Yeah.
Ears, it doesn't matter. I have the Manscaped thing still to this day. I use it all the time. Yeah. Weston sent this in. He said that for years he thought people who use the Apple AirPod Pros were idiots. They look like idiots. No. Turns out the joke was on him. Greatest ROI for daily use he's ever purchased in his life.
I use my AirPods a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I do use them a lot.
I would say that there's a thing called a Bullet that's almost like a blender or a Vitamix that only costs like $20. I used it every single day. It was when I was working out. This goes back a ways. I took pride in this, and I was in shape, which I'm far from now. But every day I would make myself like a smoothie, and I cannot tell you how trustworthy and awesome those little bullets are. You put in the milk, you put in the protein powder, you put in a little peanut butter, you might throw in a banana, whatever it is. It takes 4 seconds. You're done, you drink it, it's fantastic, and you move on with your day. That's one of those things I had no idea. I'm never going to use this thing. And then I used it every single day, and it was great.
My wife bought something for $35, and I said, what is this? It was folded like an accordion. It's a portable washing machine. and you plug it in, and it washes, it's like, I don't know, 4 quarts. But when you have kids and they have these things and you need to wash things separately, so you're not doing them with the other, it's very convenient.
Interesting. Small things like that add up. FTM at VSiN.com. You can chime in on the biggest waste of money or the thing that you bought that you had no idea you'd like as much. Also on X, at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Mike Palm Circa. Up next, pro sports bettor Paul Stone on the program. We'll find out who he likes in the bowl games this week. Next here on VSiN.
And we're out.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I need to load funds into my gaming apps.
Stormy, really,